In this demo, I'm going to get you started on using JavaScript. JavaScript is a client-side program we use inside directly within each HTML page. So the execution of JavaScript is completely on the client side. Okay, so there is no communication between the server and the client. The complete execution environment is provided and embedded within the browser. Just one clarification before we moving on is JavaScript has no relationship with Java, the language we have learned in our prior class, right? It's just happen to use there is the Java as part of the JavaScript name. How it works, how it actually developed, and how we are going to use them is pretty much very different. So don't be confused with Java and JavaScript. Let's focus more on script than Java when we talk about JavaScript. Okay, so let's begin with some very simple JavaScript. So you will get more examples later, and please practice following a lot of the examples set in the textbook or the W3 schools. Every JavaScript is directly executed within the HTML page. So let's start it with a blank HTML page, and there's nothing there, but the basic structure is defined. So we have HTML, we have the head part, we have the body part. So this demo will focus on using JavaScript to generate some dynamic HTML content. Okay, so let's start. Let's put some static content. We call it something static because once we create it, it's going to stay the same until we change it. So JavaScript demo. So this is the static content. Then if we want to have some dynamic content, which means generated by the script, not directly entered by the developer, we insert a what we call a script block right in the place where we want to be the generated content to be. So for example, this is what I want to do. I want to put some text like a welcome Jack, some kind of text right beneath the JavaScript demo heading level 1. So this is where I directly insert it. Script type is text JavaScript, and be sure to close the script tag. So this is the piece of the script tag we generated, and we want to output something like the system.out.print, the statement in Java, and in the browser we use document.write to generate output. So this is pretty much very similar to the Java statement, right? So document is the actual object, write is the method. So what do you want write to the browser? You just provide the messages. So hello Jack, right? So that's it. It's very similar to Java statement. Now there's just one catch, because we'll not output this directly to the screen like a console. We'll output this to be interpreted by the browser, and the browser, they actually use HTML tag. So right, the output needs to have HTML tag as part of the message. So don't forget this in the future, otherwise the display is completely different than from what you will expect. So don't forget the HTML tags. So this is a very simple piece of JavaScript. Let's just save it and view it. I opened it in my browser already, so let me refresh this. And because this is Internet Explorer, and when you are actually running without the server, you directly view it from the file system, you probably will get a message at the end, at the bottom of the browser, say internet is blocked this page from running scripts. So you just click allow block content. This is just one time an operation. So you'll see hello Jack. That's dynamic outputted. So how do you know this is dynamic outputted, not originally inserted in the HTML document? If you right click and view source, view the source of this page, okay, and you will actually see the source code is the piece of script. Alright, let's change something. This time we're not going to output something, a direct literal strings. We're going to use something we call variables. Remember, we say the variables makes the program more flexible. Okay, so we declare a variable by using var, and the name is the variable name. So we give it the Jack. Each Java statement is a JavaScript statement is ended by a semicolon. Okay, and there is no data type definition when we actually declare the variables. So remember, what we do in Java is we try to say string, right? But in JavaScript we don't have data type definition, so everything is variable, including integer. So for example, if you declare an integer, then a number equals to 1, so that's another variable. If it's a decimal, it's a double type, 1.5. This is, we say, the data type, the variable type in JavaScript is dynamically typed. When we actually use it, it would be determined dynamically what kind of type it is. Okay, this is just a reminder. So let me comment this out. The comment part is pretty much the same as Java. So we can do some string concatenations. So this part is completely the same as Java. So we plug the name variable in it. So that will be hello and whatever the value of this name variable. So let's save this and refresh our page. And we still, well, to prove that this is actually changed, so let me use another name. So for example, Andy, and we refresh, there is Andy. Now there is one more comment about using quotation marks. In JavaScript, it doesn't matter use double quotes or single quotes. It's the same as long as you use a pair of them. So for example, I can use the single quote here. I can use the double quote on the second part. So that's completely the same. So let's change Andy to Tom. Save this and refresh the page. It works. It's not only the part of the content you can make it dynamic. You can also make the tag, which means the HTML markup here, dynamic. So for example, I can make something called variable tag equals to, this time I'm going to use h1. So which means I can replace this p tag here and plug in the tag. So this makes it dynamic, right? So replace this p tag, and we should use double quote here, and now we have the tag. You can see that the complete message here becomes dynamic with the use of variables. The output of this, the output of the whole message, of course, has to be, the final output has to be the correct HTML markup and content, or with attributes, or with even style informations. Okay, they have to be in the correct syntax after this string concatenation. So let me change Tom to Jerry and save this. Refresh, and you can see that the title changes to h1 tag. we can actually make this more dynamic than we expect. So for example, we can even make the style. Let's plug in some style here. So for example, style. Remember this, because we said single quotes and double quotes, we do not have a significant difference. But if you use single quote within single quote, then there's going to be some problems. Okay, because you say this single quotes paired up with this one, this single quote should be paired up with this one actually, and you have a single quote inside another single quote, so that's an error. It's best you can use double quote inside single quotes, or single quotes inside double quotes, in order to avoid this confusion. So let's say the color of the font would be red, and of course we can make a variable set color equals red. I'm using double quote this time, so I'm going to replace the red as color. You can see that as we going along, the concatenation can become very complicated, so sometimes it's really get confused. So as a beginner of using JavaScript and concatenation, it's better you can break the one statement into multiple statements, and you can actually see more clearer what's going on with this concatenation here. So let me just save this and go back and refresh. It's red. It's becoming red. So that's the basic usage of JavaScript. Last item, a lot of these variables should be coming from other sources. So for example, particularly it's maybe good coming from the user input. Okay, there are multiple ways of user input. We're going to cover this in the future demonstrations. But here is one quick way to get user input. So I'm going to get it from a function. It's called a prompt. This function's the first part is the message, enter a name please, and the second part is actually a default value. So the default would be Jack. This is called a JavaScript function. This part is actually bring up the window so users can input some value. Let's see the effect of this. So I will refresh, and there is the window popped up and asked me to enter a name. So I'm going to use a Jack and something more to it, and click OK. And you can see that information is captured by the return value of the prompt function and stored in a variable like this. So you can use this way to get user input, and so your web page becomes more interactive and dynamic. There are more varied uses of JavaScript that make more content dynamic. And please follow more examples set in W3 Schools and examples I provided. And the most important is be more creative and create your own programs and practice JavaScript. And this is the end of our first demonstration on using JavaScript, and I will see you next time.